This is a mountain bike trail named the Gizzard, and it's probably the most dangerous trail in our state. Not many parks are willing to push the envelope as far as pro mountain bike trails go, but Howler Bike Park is very willing. In this video, we're building the last feature on this trail, which will be at the very beginning. The purpose of it is to set the pace for the whole thing so that people without the skills necessary to ride the trail are scared shitless to even start it. Lucky for you and I, some of the bravest kids in the world agreed to ride the whole thing, so I could show you just how insane this trail really is. But we gotta build the feature first. This was going to be just a pretty straightforward drop feature, but the kind of twist on it, the cool looking part, was going to be these stacked rock pillars that were, 6 feet high or whatever, and we would connect in between them with little wooden bridges or whatnot. I don't actually know what I was doing at the start of this project, but it was essentially Jeff by himself stacking these rock pillars. In the trail building world, any sort of stone features are generally dry stacked. Dry stacking stone is basically just not using mortar to stack stones on top of each other. To do this, you rely on finding stones that fit nicely on top of one another without much need for manipulating them. No stone fits perfectly though, so any gaps between these rocks need to be filled with rock shims or small chips. The more you can fill these gaps, the sturdier your stones will be. Sadly, this ended up being the only pillar we could make. We kind of a bit overestimated how many stones we had. What we ended up with was just this main one stacked pillar. Did not like this at first. I was kind of annoyed in my head that, like, fuck man, like this is gonna look stupid with just one random rock pillar in the middle of it. By the end of the thing, I end up thinking that's my favorite part about the whole feature, is that one stacked pillar. It kind of has this asymmetrical charm about it. But anyway, I had really nothing to complain about because I showed up and all of the rocks were stacked already, and I could go straight into measuring out where everything needed to go and just, get right to work. Since we couldn't do the rock pillars anymore, we instead were going to use wooden posts. When attaching wood to rock, you need to use something like these post bases to attach to. Not only for simply holding the posts in place, but also these get the wood up off the ground so that dirt and water don't sit in direct contact with the post. And once I had some of those post bases anchored in and whatnot, I could go straight to just measuring the lumber, cutting it, bringing it over, and standing it up. The guys, they had already brought all the lumber up there, peeled it for me, made sure they were like decent lengths. Yeah, they set me up for this one.
Yeah, baby, I'm locking out. When are we? Let me be. Look at him.
We get the post cut, we get some of them stood up into those post bases, and then from there, it's crotch cutting time. These types of joints are horrible to cut. If you're worried about time, this is not the joint to do, is what I'll say. But if you're worried about aesthetics, it's a great one. It just looks so good, and you can't beat it. It's just cool to match an irregular shape to another irregular shape. There's something about that where like this free form fitting into another free form like a puzzle piece is always, it's just satisfying. But anyway, at this point we had sort of the head of the feature completely done for the most part. We could stand up on those logs and look over and see how this thing needed to ride for people to drop it properly. So what was left is to pretty much connect what we just did all the way to the ground. So what we needed now was to bring Jeff back up and to get a bunch more of those boulders set in place so we could put more posts and things like that up.
Well, you drink champagne and it tastes like Coca-Cola. C-O-L-A, Coca-Cola. Well, I'm not the world's most physical guy, but once you squeeze my tight, you never grow my spine. Oh my Lord, la 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 la. But I'm not done
Once we had all the rocks in place and things were starting to look correctly, then it was just really rinse and repeating what we had just done. That's putting those post bases back in, putting more posts up, putting the cross members on, you know, cutting those crotches back into things. Yeah, it's just kind of go time to do all of the same stuff. So I got to work doing all that, and while I did that, I had Ricky go through and put bracing up on all of the stuff we had previously just done. So with all of that stuff done, now we can start to get excited. This is where I get excited anyway, because we're going to lay these big fat logs across the whole length of the structure. And these logs, stringers, are the thing that all of the decking will sit on top of. The downside of using logs for your stringers is they have no dimension to them. There's no flat edge, so there's a lot of cutting and making things taller and making them long, like just a lot of messing around with a chainsaw to get each log that runs in parallel with each other perfectly flat across the top, or else our decking will start to get a little wild looking.
Cut the legs off of our pants, threw our shoes into the ocean, sit back and wave through the daylight, sit back and wave through the daylight, slip and slide on subway grades, these shoes are poor man's ice cream, fall through like change in the daylight, fall through like change in the daylight, I'm the shepherd line tomorrow, solid on my metro, maybe I'll pay them in myself, maybe I'll pay them in myself.
At this point, all we have to do now is deck the thing. And for this one, we got to do something pretty fun that I think everybody likes to see on a feature, or just when wood is butted up to rock, it's always kind of special looking, and it's actually really easy to do. It's essentially the same thing that we did with the crotch cutting. You know, on those, you're copying the top beam to the bottom post, and with this, you're copying that rock edge to the piece of wood that you're gonna butt against it. So for this, I'll just take a compass or something that I can transfer that edge over to and just follow that edge and then cut that piece out that you just scribed onto your board. And then you slide your board up against it and it looks super sweet. What I like to do though as well is I'll smooth over that edge that we just cut so that over time as people pass over it, it doesn't break off. If you had a 90 degree there as opposed to smoothing it over, that top edge will crack off and take a lot more with it than just smoothing it off. So I'll generally do that and then it's done and I think it looks nice. At this point, all we have to do is deck the rest of it. So let's do that.
When gold erupted from volcanoes in the heavens, and every shrine that existed in time melted. Tombs open, dookie ropes on the barrels. When everything is gold, who cares about the carats? They say the gold's the skin of the gods. You can't take the band-aid when you're gone. Tip over that kiosk in the mall as the sunset falls into tomorrow.
Today we're feeling like gold, 500,000 sold. Slick Rick gold, rope on, hella cold. And we stay fresh, so fresh head to toe. Gold slugger faded, 14 karat plated, so we're feeling like gold.
500,000 sold. Slick Rick gold, rope on, hella cold.
Today we're feeling like.
So with that, it's completely done. I think it turned out awesome. I'm super excited for you guys to see that thing get ridden, but I'm more excited for you to get to see these kids that can ride the whole damn trail. I'm maybe in 5 years or something I'll be able to ride it in my dreams, but these kids just demolish it like it's nothing. It's like a playground for them. I would like to say one thing before we get to that. I am a trail building company, and if you would like to hire me in your area, reach out to me. You can go to the link in the description, all that nonsense. If you don't have any business for me, then the other thing you could do is subscribe or join the membership here on YouTube to the channel. I don't run ads, I don't take sponsorships, and I pay for a lot of good music to put in these videos. So anything you can lend over or help out with is greatly appreciated. And yeah, that's all I'll say. Let's get to the kids riding.